Right, welcome back to Adventure 82. Last time we finished at St Luke's Station. Today St Luke's Station, we're still technically here, it's just behind me. We're now going to work our way through St Luke's Crescent. We're going to have a look at the former site of the Georgetown station, which was nowhere near Georgetown. And we're going to end today at what was the Greve des station. So let's go and have a look. There's not an awful lot left of these stations, which is why there's so many in this video, but we'll see what's left. So this way goes. Right, so as you walk down here, you can see there's not really an awful lot left railway wise. I have a sneaking suspicion that this bit may have been here before, but I think that's about it. We'll just hang on, just let oh, thought the van was going to go past, but he's not, he's just parking. These little bits in between the houses here, which the guys now using storage bins, would have actually been access paths from the path, that roadside through into the station area, but without the houses, because after checking, these houses weren't here at the time the railway was. So the railway, so you see you've got St Luke's Crescent curves off down here. The railway went straight through the bush here. That's why the area that these houses are in is so vast. Most of these aren't original, these houses, anymore. Most of them have been heavily modified. The only house in these that was original last time I went in it was number 2, and that's because my mum's aunt used to live there. I'm going to guess, being the lady died, must be about a decade ago now. It's been substantially altered since then. But if you look at this back wall here, so you have your wall and then you have the houses just behind, and the railway would have kind of been in between. That wall wouldn't have been there. So all the housing you see along here, and all this housing here in St Luke's Crescent, although a small amount of it may have been here at the time, and there's no way of knowing because no one's taking pictures of around here before the houses were. This all would have been land owned by the railway, so a lot of it would have been off limits anyway, I would imagine, which may also account for the lack of photos. But you can see how we're just over there. This would have been a straight run all the way down through the hedge there. So if you imagine kind of like where the wall and fences are now is kind of being in between the two rails, that's roughly the alignment for the train, because all the buildings around here, even the shops, which most people will remember on the corner there of Green Street, used to be. Now my mum serves me correctly, I remember my mum explaining to me once upon a time there was a butcher's there. And a baker's, but that would have been the late 1950s, early 1960s. So I'm going to suggest the butcher and the baker probably haven't been there for some time. But yeah, so you would have had your railway went down here. There's not much else to see, to be honest. So we'll skip the rest of St Luke's Crescent, because I don't just want to bore you. And when we cut back, we'll be where Georgetown Station was. Right, so we're now at the end of St Luke's Crescent, which the exit's just behind us there. The old telegraph pole from the railway still remains, but that's the only thing left of the railway on this end. The railway, when it came out, would have come through this building here, and it would have gone straight through this wall. Now, if you look carefully, I'm going to try and attempt to cross the road. You can see here where the mortar's kind of younger than the mortar either side. That's because the intersection here That's where the train went. It would have gone straight through this building to the side of me here, through these flats, and then on the site of these flats would have been Georgetown Station. So if Erica would be so kind as to follow me. So if you're a kid from 70s or the 80s and you lived in Jersey, you'll remember a shop brand called Pickwick's. A lot of kids used to go there to buy like their sweets and stuff. This had a Pickwick's when I was a kid. Known for had a barber shop, a Chinese, very popular place. Erica, not surprisingly if you know Erica, spent a lot of time at the Chinese apparently. But right, so this is these flats here. So this site here, this would have been, like I say, the station. If you look roughly where the patio is here, that's roughly where the platform would have been. And if we come and have a look, where your two visitor spaces are there on the blue wall, which Eric is now kindly filming for you, and the poor unsuspecting victim's fence there for his back garden and a couple of people probably next to him, it went straight down there. Now I don't know if any of you are aware, but there's a little road down here which we're just going to code to now. It's called Coastlands Avenue, where that van just came out. Now I don't know if anybody's been down Coastlands Avenue, lives on Coastlands Avenue, but if you do, you're living on the track bed. So let's go have a look at that next. I won't make you watch me walk there. We'll cut and then by the magic of editing, I'll be there. Right, just before we go into Coastlands Avenue, I thought I should tell you also, because I forgot to mention it before, when I was in front of camera, there was actually a level crossing here as well. And if you can imagine, this is at the level, when I don't know if you guys have watched the previous two videos, you'll know that a carriage broke free at the Green Street station, and it rolled all the way down and it stopped at Greve Dezet station, and when it eventually ran out of steam it was actually at this station. But it was the two sets of gates here on this level crossing that it smashed through and broke as it made its way all on its own with just the force of gravity down to this station, where they eventually got it back and no one got injured. But yes, as I said anyway, to Coastlands Avenue. Coastlands Avenue, see, magic. So if we look straight down here, this section doesn't count, the one we just walked up, but all the way down there, that's literally, that's just a tarmac track bed. That's all that is. In fact, you can see, if you come here, you can see the layers of tarmacs. You've got like the old kind of rougher 1950s stuff. You can see where they've patched it with the kind of more gritty stuff they were using in the 60s, and then slightly smoother black stuff here, mixed in with gravel and stuff, which, I don't know if that was added or whether that's what's left of maybe railway ballast, or doing just a quick fix for a pothole. But let's go have a look down here and see if there's anything railway related left apart from a track bed that's been tarmacked. I'm not optimistic. I know how good the states are at demolishing railways, so and they were quite eager in the 50s because the car was king then. So let's go have a look. And where we would go. Right, now the white building you can probably see at the end, big white building. If I can move my big massive finger out your way, there we go. That's some newly built, or relatively newly built flats. Needless to say, those wouldn't have been there back in, well, even the 1920s, because the line didn't shut till 1929. It closed just a few years before the JR&T did, because unlike the JR&T, it didn't have a bus service to help it kind of soldier on, although the JR&T's idea for using rail cars was an idea they got from the JER, because the JER were the ones who introduced them first to try and cut costs while still maintaining a good service for the customer. Clearly, as you can see, that didn't work. So as we get to the end, I was explaining, right, these flats, again, if you were a child in the 1980s, you may remember a shop called Alliance. And if you're watching in Guernsey, you'll almost certainly remember a shop called Alliance, because in Guernsey they still exist. In Jersey they don't, but they used to be on the site there, and the railway went straight through there, so needless to say, brick wall and the lovely yellow gates went there. But that's that for that. Right, I'm not sure what's happened here, but on editing I found out this specific clip, for some brilliant reason, doesn't have any sound. So what I'm showing you here is that that's the other side of the wall where we left Coastlands Avenue. That's where the train would have come out, and it would have gone through there, gone through into the car park, which we're about to go to in a minute, at Princess Place. But it would have actually gone through these houses here, which are now being shown to you. And then what we'll do next, we'll go across the road and we'll take a look at Princess Place, and we'll see where the railway actually went through. But yeah, it went through the fence and into what's now FB Fields. So let's go take a look at that. And yeah, my apologies for the sound and the shaky part of the video. I'm not sure what's happened with those, and these kind of things you don't find out till you get to the editing suite, so please do accept my apologies. It's not the normal quality I would give you. But anyway, back to the JER. Right, so if you do any kind of health and fitness, or know somebody who plays football out, chances are you've been here at some point before. Oh, hang on, tractor. Wow, that's a noisy one. Right, so yeah, if you've done any kind of sport and fitness, running, athletics, that kind of stuff in Jersey, yeah, that too. Your odds are you've probably been to FB Fields before. If you haven't, over here in Jersey, it's like our sports facility really, although they're split up slightly. But most of the outdoor sports for Jersey are done here. So you've got, this is all massive football fields. We've got cricket bits on the end there. We've got the running track over there. That's the only one in the island. We do have a proper football stadium with stands, but that's in Springfield. FB, in case you're curious, stands for Florence Boot, who was the wife of the gentleman who started Boots the Chemist. And when she died, she left this land, which was hers, to the island of Jersey to be used for recreational purposes for the public, and they were banned from building on it. It's similar to Howard Davis Park. Anyway, right, so we're here. This is the site of what would have been Grifter's Station. The building itself isn't original. It's in the shadow of the old building. It's where the old building would have been, but it's not the original building. It's just one that's been put there. It was, I don't know if it still is, but the last time I was here, it was changing rooms. If Erica stays where she is, I'll show you what's going on here. So, if you follow the outline of the wall is basically where the platform was. Underneath the slabs, which you can see on the outside here, underneath these slabs, the foundation is in fact the original platform from the station. Jersey's platforms are quite unusual, because you'll be familiar with most platforms within Europe and in the UK. In fact, I think all of them, they get to an end and then they kind of slope down. Jersey's didn't do that. They were just at that level that they needed to be for the train, and then they ended there. So it was just a case of they put a bit of railing either end to give you the idea not to try and climb onto the thing, and then you had this side here where you would have got on the train. So it didn't taper off. Jerseys didn't. They just, it was basically just like just a giant granite step. But this station, this is, like I say, this would have been Grove Gazette station. You would have had your track bed just in front here. Would have gone all the way down to the end of the football pitch, and as it went off on a slight curve, and it went through, as I found out doing research of this, until I was moved by the States of Jersey, it went through maybe 200 yards from where I lived at the Sky Estate. But that's for the next video. So if you want to find out whereabouts that was, I'll see you in part 4. Can't count. Until then, I'm now going to take the long hike back to my van, because the gate that opens onto the car park, for some reason they see fit to leave locked. I don't know why. Anyway, I'll see you guys after.